welcome and very good morning to my lecturers, Madam Prof Mawarni, and to all my fellow friends. Today I will present about leisure motivations. So before I start, I will introduce myself. My name is Mohamad Dzahir. So we move on to the definitions. Definitions of leisure. What is leisure? Leisure is a freedom from demands of work and duty. Motivations. What is motivation? Motivation is a process by which an individual creates an inner drive to accomplish goals or objective. So the third one is leisure motivations. What is leisure motivations? Leisure motivation is refers to needs, reasons, or satisfaction that stimulate involvement in leisure activity by Crandall 1980. So we move to the leisure motivations. There are two types of leisure motivation. The first one is intrinsic motivations, and the second one is extrinsic motivations. So basically there have two types of leisure motivation. The first one is intrinsic motivation, and the second one is extrinsic motivations. So intrinsic motivation is an activity that interesting, enjoyable, and rewarding for itself. So and as an example, you deciding to do something, but because you are interested on it, and you feel pleasure when you do that things. So the reason that came from yourself, not from others, like that. So for the extrinsic motivation, the second one is extrinsic motivation. It's defined as an activity that rewarding from external purpose, such as getting paid, receive recognitions, and getting awards. As an example, deciding to do some things because you are told to do from others, and you doing something because you want to gain recognitions, getting monies from it, or you want to receiving awards from it. Okay, the next one. Okay, there are four approaches to characterize intrinsic motivation. The first one is absence of any apparent external reward. The second one is interest and enjoyment. The third one is optimally challenging and often result in absorbing experience. And the fourth one is fostered by three innate psychological needs, which is autonomy, relatedness, and competence. So the first one is absence of any external reward. Absence of any external reward is when people are in a free choices situations. So I give you an example. When you want to involve co-curriculum in school, right? They have unit uniform, sukan, and and club. So I give you the unit uniform choice. Example, they have KRS, bomber, bulan sabit merah, and all that. So you can choose freely without any vibe from others. So you are in a free choice situations. You can choose whatever you want. So the second one is interest and enjoyment. Interest and enjoyment is when activity that pushes people to become involved in it, where enjoyment impels them to stay involved. So I give you an example. When a person don't want to play, but her or his friends ask them to play. So he start to play, and he feel the enjoyment and satisfaction himself. So basically, this is because interest and enjoyment frequently indicate by the intrinsic motivations. So the next one is optimally challenging and often result in absorbing experience. This is when they feel naturally motivated without any challenges and obstacle. Okay. The last approaches is fostered by three innate psychological needs. The first one is autonomy. Autonomy, relatedness, and competence. Autonomy Autonomy is when you are alone. The desire to compete is low, because we more on doing something that we willingly to do. Thus, it fulfill most during leisure. Okay, the second one is competence. Competence is when we desire to compete is high, and most likely during work. This is include during leisure and work. And the last one is relatedness. Relatedness is when we need our desire to relate with the environment. So then we gain the benefits from both sides, from the environments and the desire itself. Okay, there are three forms of intrinsic motivation. The first one is toward knowledge, the second one is toward accomplishment, and the third one is toward experiencing accomplishment. So basically the first one is towards knowledge. Toward knowledge is means by it's involved in participating activities because you find it's pleasurable and to learn something new. So the second one is toward accomplishment. Toward accomplishment is when involved in find pleasure in trying to reach a new goals and activities doing by yourself. And the third one is toward experiencing accomplishment. Towards experiencing accomplishment is you find a certain sensation associated it pleasurable. So the extrinsic motivation divided into four. The first one is external motivation, the second one is introjected motivation, the third one is identified motivation, and the fourth one is integrated motivations. So basically the first one is external motivations. What is external motivations? External motivation refers to the behavior that is controlled by factors clearly external to individual, like the promise or reward or the punishments. So I give you an example, which is when you want to involve in sports, your coach asks you to train, so you can compete with others. If you don't compete with others, you will lose. So the second one is introjected motivation. Introjected motivation is refers to the activities that are driven by internal pressure, inside pressures, where actions are controlled by what you feel, and rather than in response to the needs for the autonomy, competence, and relatedness. So I give you an example. When your mom asks you to buy something, to go outside to help her to buy something, at first you don't want to do, but because you feel vicious and respect to others, you still go and help your mothers to buy something. Okay, the third one is identified motivations. What is identified motivation? Identified motivation is refer to the activities that are done neither for rewards like money or trophies. So what you do, like you go jogging every evening, you go cycling, you just do for yourself, not for others. And the last one is integrated motivation. Integrated motivation is refer from internalizing an activity behavior so completely that it become a major part of who are you as a person itself. So I will pass the next slide to my friend Fariq.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Fariq Iqbal bin Azizan. Thank you for the before the presentation, Miss Ain. Okay, today I will explain about self-determination theory. Okay, what is self-determination theory? Okay, every person have their motivation, self-confidence, self-determined in themselves. Okay, self-determination theory is by Edward H. and Richard Ryan. It's about people are motivated and grow their physiological needs. Okay, why? People motivated by the environment and themselves for their future, such as motivate for sport to increase their performance, and motivate in studies for their exams and their SEM. Next, as you can see here, self-determination theory has four, such as self-determination theory (SDT), cognitive evolution theory, organismic integration theory, and the last one is causality orientation theory. SDT, self-determination theory, is about human needs, human basic needs, such as physiological needs. I will explain next about human needs. Okay, cognitive evolution theory is about our thinking, our external for the effect, about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. For such as in previous I said, intrinsic is motivated by fun, joy, and extrinsic about external reward and gain fame, for their thinking, how they want to manage to get a good performance in their life. Okay, for organismic integration theory is about type of intrinsic motivation, like in this slide. Variation in motivation organized with respect to the others, meaning that you can see about the successful and unsuccessful people. Football player, they are very professional player, but some is successful player and some is not successful player. How their variation in motivation to win the game. Okay, do you understand? Okay. For causality orientation evaluation is about identify individual differences in motivation. Okay, some people have their own motivation to increase or to think they can do it. If people don't have motivate themselves, they are very loser. They cannot think far enough in the future. Next is three basic physiological needs, like SDT. SDT is what? Self-determination theory. Okay. Okay, self-determination theory tell about our physiological needs, human basic needs. Okay, such as Ryan and Dechi said, they have three. That is autonomy, competence, and relentlessness. Okay, autonomy. What is autonomy? Autonomy is we have choice, our own choice for our action, such as in studies. We have our choice to study or not in the exam. If we study, we can get pass in the exam. If we don't have studies, we will fail in something exams. Okay, competence. Competence is we are good at something, such as my friend good at sports, but not good at studies. Me good at studies, but not good at sports. Something like that. And relatedness is about we are connection to others in positive relationship. We communicate in our class, help when our friend is hurt or have problems. Okay, next is Maslow hierarchy of needs. Okay, this is about in pyramid about Maslow hierarchy of needs, human basic needs. Okay, we take the below one. Okay, the below one is physiological. Physiological is about our breath, our safety, our need of water, of sex, and sleeps. Okay, next step is safety. What is safety? Our healthy. Healthy is in health and property. We have house, something like that. Third is love, belonging. We need our love, like we need our love from family, friendship, and our sexual tendency. Okay. Third is esteem. Esteem is about our self-confidence, self-esteem, belief in ourselves. And last is self-actualization. Self-actualization is about problem solving and ascertain of facts. That is about Maslow hierarchy of needs said. And next, as we can see here, is about differences in motivation. There are many ways in motivate themselves. Okay, we take the below one, introjected punishment. Introjected punishment, introjected reward is categorized as introjected regulation. Okay, after this I will explain about it. Okay, then identify, integrated, and intrinsic. Okay, what is introjected punishment? Okay, introjected punishment and introjected reward is self-endorsing and have their egos. Means that they only believe in themselves. They don't listen to others say. Such as people in workout, people said to stop because if we continue more, it will burn. It will become injured in our body. Muscle will injure. So they keep trust, and punish them more to increase themselves in muscle. Interrelated punishment is highest work related. Why? Because if they fail to do it, they will punish themselves. Punish to become better. So it's a good one, but it's in their behavior, such as if they have a good behavior, they reward themselves in introjected reward. Introjected reward is also love to prove others wrong. If they can prove others wrong, they reward themselves as their win in their game. And identify, seek purpose. Identify is seek purpose. Then not feeling fun, but it's very important to do it. Such as exam, studies. Students don't like to studies, but they need to learn to studies every night to fight with their exam. If they fail in the exam, they will know they will fail. That is identified. They need to push themselves to not fail. Integrated. Okay. Integrated is identify of expression self. Okay. Identify of expression self meaning that they know about themselves. Okay. Such as your friend love to play football and want to become a Malaysia Cup, want to Malaysia Cup, but me cannot play football. You know how your level is. You just play for fun and no go for the highest potential game. Okay, intrinsic. Okay, intrinsic is very important. They do everything enjoy, pleasure, and fun. They motivate themselves, enjoy, fun. If they have they cannot do in the lame or bored. They just do anything fun, joy. Okay. That's all for me. After this, Izzat will explain about integration.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Mohamad Izzat bin Zakariah. So for today, I will talk about integrated extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation, also known as external motivation. You do the activities in order to get the external reward in return. The goal is not focusing on the psychological needs, which is have three human needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. It is more focused on external gain, such as money, reward, fame, power, or maybe to avoid punishment. And it's totally different with intrinsic motivation or internal motivation. You do the activities because it is internally rewarding you, full of fun, enjoyment, and it is satisfying your three human basic need, your psychological need. Integrated extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. High level of perceived freedom are frequently reported during leisure, and the basic needs of autonomy, competence, and relatedness. So this is self-determination theory about three basic human needs. Integrated extrinsic motivation. Integrated motivation results from the complete internalization of extrinsic regulation. Person has examined the causes and found it compatible with their own values and needs. Then the action becomes self-initiated. It is autonomous and not controlled by the other factor or external cause. So, for example, with respect to running, such integrated regulation is different from the experience by people who are involved in run because of issue exercise, have reason, and the last one because of their friend pressuring him to do. But from here, he will get the health benefits, or maybe when he participates in competition, he will get award. But when integrated motivation exists, he will likely continue doing the activities or his run, even his friend already not doing the activities, already turn to the new activities, or maybe doesn't have any competition that he involved, and it will likely continue it because of it is a leisure activities for him. Intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation refers to the behavior that is driven by internal reward. It is naturally satisfying for you. For example, you read a book. You are more focused on the knowledge than a test result. The danger of reward, praise, and extrinsic regulation in leisure. It is common for people to strive for external reward right now. In fact, reward frequently are part of leisure activities and contexts. Trophies and prizes are awarded for participation and good performance in children and adult leisure right now. And I will give you another example. The people who are involved in video games, volunteering, or musical instrument, when over-justified begin, they are more interested in extrinsic rather than intrinsic reward. So I will give you another example. The experiment by Lipper, Greeny, and Nisbet. They give children attending a preschool and a chance to play with a colorful pen marker. They divide the children by three categories, which is Group A, as they would draw some picture with the marker. Group B, they ask if they will draw some picture with the marker, they will receive a good player award. The last one, group C, ask them to draw a picture using the marker, and when they are done, suddenly they will receive a good player award, same like group B. So based on the group that already given, group A are more focusing on intrinsic motivation, group B are more focusing on extrinsic regulation, and the last one, group C, is intrinsic motivation, but when they are done, they will get a reward. So after a week later, the teacher placed the marker and the paper on the table in the classroom, and the teacher not told them about what they will do. And here we already get the result, which is already predictable. So from the table we can see that group A are still consistent doing the activities because of the internal reward, and that is what they are focused. But group B, they are dropped because of the external reward. The teacher are not told them about the reward. And the last one is group C, why they are highly still consistent doing the activities, playing a marker pen, because it is still same like a previous week. They think that if they will do, the teacher will give the award, and that is what they are seeing. But at the same time, there are two motivation involved in group C, which is intrinsic and extrinsic reward.
My name is Mohamad Nabil Hakeem bin Sheik Daud. Today I will present a part of leisure motivation, which is social learning, social cognition, and the self, and also the factor affecting individual to involve in leisure. For the social learning part, according to Bandura, 1974, he said that motivation are shaped by environment, circumstances, and socialization, which means social learning is subject to general learning of leisure. Much learning, even social learning, is responding to consequences, to reward and punishment among this society. And social learning, also known as reinforcement principle, which means the avoidance of aversive consequences, to bring the goods of society, that people success, to avoid pain, discomfort, isolation, and humiliation. Social learning also will improve through modeling principle, which is when the sister saw her elder sister do something leisure, and through this experience she can gain more prominent in social learning, said Bandura in 1986. And human motivation is different from animals in some areas, which means the capacity to evaluate action and against standard. For example, human able to reflecting back on the past and consider in the future. For the social cognition and the self part, we know that motivation theory also focuses on belief and expectation. Individual process information about the self and the world to attain their goals. In other words, people action reflect the framework. They are in fact motivated by their goal they set. For the goal setting, it can found in variety of leisure activity. For example, when that individual go to the tournament, the goal is want to win the tournament. And when the student go to the classroom, the goal is want to get more knowledge from the lecturer. This social cognition can be improved by distinction between task-oriented and ego-oriented achievement motivation. What the difference among task-oriented and ego-oriented achievement motivation? Task-oriented, For example, when some people want to hit the ball, for the task-oriented, he or she will hit the ball to let the ball go. And for the ego-oriented achievement motivation, when she or he want to hit the ball, they will hit with more effort to let the ball go. So it is the difference between task-oriented and ego-oriented achievement motivation. According to Maslow theory, accommodates the self and social cognition with more effective category, which is humanistic psychologies, which mean human potential and people strive to make their life meaningful. For example, their abilities, their attitude to make their life more meaningful through family, friends and others. Factors affecting participation of individual in leisure activity. First, personality. Second, needs and motivation. For the personality, when someone have playful personality or enjoyful, they will involve in leisure activity. And for the needs, when the workers are stressful, so they will involve in leisure activity to freedom. And for the motivation, when someone have been motivated by the friend or itself to join in leisure activity. Through the theory of planned behavior, which is TPB in 1991, individual behavior is largely dependent on his or her intention to perform that behavior. For example, when someone want to join in the leisure activity, for example, to play futsal, to go to Legoland with his family, they will do when they want. But when someone do not want to play football, do not want to play futsal, when they go, they with less motivation, less need to do the leisure activities. Leisure constraint theory by Crawford and Jackson, 2005. It has three types of constraint. First, intrapersonal. Intrapersonal is individual qualities that affect the formation of leisure. For example, their abilities, their performance. And second is interpersonal. Interpersonal is social factor that affect the formation of leisure. For example, their friends, outside environment. And lastly is structural, which is occur after leisure preference are formed. For example, lack of time, the factor of money being mentioned. For the conclusion, we know that leisure motivation is one of the important thing to someone involved in leisure activity. What we know about the leisure motivation? Leisure is one of the demand to free from duty and work. And for motivation is individual process of inner behavior to achieve their goal. So leisure motivation is important to all people in society to have meaningful of their life. Thank you for lending me your ears and give attention to our presentation. Assalamualaikum.